I felt like I was in a tailspin. I thought, how in the world did this happen to me? It was so much to digest, and we weren't really quite certain what our options would be. We made the decision that we were going to get a couple of opinions, so not just a second opinion, but a third opinion and even a fourth opinion. So when all three doctors had recommended a hysterectomy, I guess I was sad and relieved all at the same time. I was sad because it was going to end my ability to have any more children, but in a sense I was relieved that that could potentially be my only treatment. They all felt that the cancer was in its very early stages and that it had been contained. They didn't have any reason to believe that it was in my lymph nodes or my bloodstream, and that it would be easily treatable by just going in and removing my cervix and my uterus.
The anxiety was overwhelming, and sometimes my wife would just look at me and we'd hug tight and start crying and both reassure each other that everything was going to work out.
She then underwent a total abdominal hysterectomy without complication and is doing very well today.
We were one of the fortunate ones that didn't have to go for further chemo or radiation like that.
I feel very positive about the future. I'm still a little saddened by the fact that I can't have any additional children. So that's, tough for my husband and I. But I feel eternally grateful for the HPV test. If Dr. Welt had not asked me for my consent to have the HPV test, I may not be sitting here today as a cervical cancer survivor.
What's really important is my wife's here to be my wife and her daughter's mom. So while we're sad about some things that occurred and what she's been through, we've been blessed.
That test clearly indicated, long before a pap test did, that there was something going on inside of my cervix.
We screened Micheline with a pap and an HPV test. The pap was normal. If we had only relied on normal results, she would have returned a year later. The follow-up pap could easily have missed her cancer again. And in fact, picking up cancer over a year later than when we discovered it could have resulted in a far more advanced cancer.
And it could have wreaked much more havoc on my cervix and spread quite a bit further than it did. So I am eternally grateful for the HPV test because, in my opinion, it saved my life.